like I think you made like a lot of money on the internet, like, and through the side hustles in your business. What would you like say to a person that has like no personal brand, no anything, and wants to make their first K on the internet?
Oh man, that's a great question. Yeah, so before actually, before this method came about, and I'll mention it in a bit. In my opinion, the real way, at least that I found, was basically just like sell like anything, sell a digital product, sell a physical product. You didn't even need a big audience. You just needed conviction in your content. So like, let's say if I was like a tennis player, um, I can just make like tennis content or something like that and sell like a digital ebook or something, right? And I wouldn't even need followers simply because as long as I have conviction and as long as I post like me playing tennis and I look good playing tennis, people will kind of trust me. Um, and there's been people like that. They're called like grifters, basically. Or it's kind of like a 50-50 grifter. Grifter is basically somebody who doesn't deliver on their promise. But there's also the other side of grifting where it's like you can fake it until you basically make it or something. So there was like this whole controversy beforehand where somebody would basically try to sell you like a digital product, but they never even knew like actually they weren't an expert in that field or something like that, right? Um, so that was probably like one way you guys can do it. If you're an expert at something, maybe you're really good at cooking, you can easily make a cookbook. You just have to make cooking content. But the new way, and this is like universal. This is pretty new, and I think a lot of people can jump on this really easily. It's called UGC, user generated content. Basically, there's a bunch of brands that are realizing that sure they can make like an ad, like a commercial ad or something like that, but what they are kind of discovering now is people buy through other people that they like or that they kind of like see. So if they see something like you're scrolling or something and you just see like, oh, this like my lips are like so dry because it's like really cold outside, but I use this to make sure that my lips are not dry or something like that, right? And I've tried like 100 different lip, whatever. Um, Obviously you're probably gonna be like, oh, interesting, my lips are also dry. I'm gonna try that one out, right? And like they're gonna save like the piece of content or something like that. That's basically what UGC is. It's basically just like creating content for brands or softwares or companies. And there's different levels to UGC. There's paid ads UGC, there's organic UGC, but nonetheless, you basically will get paid for creating like a 10 to 30-second video, either with a physical product or either with like a software, like a SaaS or something, like software as a service. Um, and some of these like paid ads, it's like $200 for one single video, all the way up to like $1,000 for one single video if you're really good. For the organic side, it's more volume, meaning like you post like 30 videos in 1 month, so like almost one video a day, and you get like $1,000. But obviously, like one is like a lot more effort. The other one's like it's literally just like dry lips, use this type of thing. Um, and yeah, I've seen so many people in the past like 3-4 months start UGC, and within their first month, they're making their first $1,000. So I highly recommend anybody who's like wanting to start creating content and maybe make their first $1,000 just to start and try UGC. In my opinion, it's pretty lucrative right now. So
Yeah, and that's so relatable. I have like dry lips because I was all day outside, like actually. So yeah. And did you try UGC?
yeah, so I started off way before UGC started to become mainstream with paid ads UGC. I basically signed with an agency. It's a UGC agency, so I didn't have to do any outreach. All the deals basically came to me. Um, it's The agency I signed for was luckily it was just like a free type of thing. They really just wanted creators. They basically just connect creators with brands. You do have to be somewhat of a decent creator, at least for paid ads UGC. You know, brands don't want to spend like $200 on one single video for it to flop, right? Or at least to not be as quality. But there is like the organic UGC where it's just like you create like 10 to 15-second videos for brands, and literally just have to like flash the product sometimes with like an on-screen caption or whatever. But yeah, I've tried both ends. I've tried literally probably every single type of UGC: faceless UGC, paid ads UGC, organic, like everything in and out. And I've made a substantial amount of money through UGC. So yeah, it's like a proven thing.
Yeah, like the first like thing that comes to mind when somebody like would want to try UGC is like how they get the clients in and the brand deals. Like what is your advice on that? I heard that like you said like I was into UGC agency and something. Like how can people like get into that and something?
Yeah, I think if they really want to start, there's a bunch of startups, and startups are basically just companies that are either funded or they have an idea and they're trying to start like a business, that have decent budgets, so you can trust them that you'll get paid out. Um, Something like, for example, Cluely, Turbolearn, um, Polymarket, Kalshi, all these like big startups. They basically are looking for creators to bring in um, to their creator pool, and all you have to do is just once again create content for them. Luckily enough, a lot of these programs, like these organic UGC programs, um, they will have like an in-house coach, and you don't even have to do any of your own research. They usually give you the script, they give you the template or like the format of the video. So all you have to do is just like film, show it to the coach or whoever's coaching you. If once they get it approved, you can simply just upload it and then you get paid. Some of these programs do like $35 per video, so that's around I think it's like around like $750 to $1,000 per month. And then there's something with view bonus incentives, meaning like if you get a break a certain threshold on your views for one video. So like let's say you get like 1 million views or something, you get an additional like 500, maybe $1,000 or something like that. Um, so yeah, it's very like view incentive type of thing. So I would start that route, is just like searching up a bunch of startups, going to their website, seeing if they have like a UGC program, applying to it. Um, there's also communities like UGC communities that are starting to pop up a little bit. Some of them are free, other you do have to pay to get in, but they are almost guaranteed you opportunities, like UGC opportunities. Meaning like you pay like $500 or something, you get into this community. They have like a bunch of like UGC opportunities that you can apply to. Some of them are guaranteed, which is also a really good upside. And then you can also do, if you are a more experienced creator, and you want to try to break into the paid ads UGC side, you can simply just reach out to brands through email, and be like, hey, here's my portfolio. You should also think about making a portfolio, and a portfolio is simply just like, it's like literally just a page that has like your face, what you're about, and a bunch of videos that you've made. If you have no videos, simply just go around your house, pull up your phone. I've tried 200 lip brands and this is the only one that works type of thing. Basically faking it till you make it, and just posting a bunch of those videos on, so the brands will see your face and get your voice and see how well you do on camera and stuff like that, your editing skills. Or you can sign with a UGC agency and they will basically just do all the work for you. Luckily the one that I did was free. I think you might have to pay like a fee to get in or something for other agencies. But yeah, that's my advice to people who are just wanting to start.
Well, what part of it was it just because you wanted to have food, and what part of it was like emotional eating? Like, yeah, I'm still fat, so I will just give it a few other plates. Maybe a weird question, but I'm interested in that.
No. It's a great question because it's super important. Like for me, it was a lot of emotional eating. Like most of it was emotional eating. I'm I'm sad. I'm gonna eat. I'm happy. I'm gonna eat. I don't feel good. I'm gonna eat. It was a lot of emotional eating, and one thing that's also super super important, and that's something that we don't really have control over, especially as kids, is your environment. if you're in a family that very food focused, like I'm from Romania originally, and in Romania, a lot of things are focused on food. Like food is in every occasion. Like we had Christmas recently, and while I hear that some people like from the UK, they have like a Christmas dinner, a plate here and there, a bit of chocolate, whatever. In Romania, you wake up, you do the gifts, then you go, you eat from like 12 all the way to 8 p.m. You sit at the table and you eat. You talk and you eat. So it's a lot of food focused. Um, and when you're in an environment where your parents, they like to keep a lot of sweets in the house, or snacks, or chips, or whatever, either for them or either because they know you like it, even though like in my household, right? When I used to live with my parents, I always used to have something sweet. I always used to have like some Snickers bars or some chips or some sunflower seeds, which is a very Eastern European thing, but whatever. Lots of snacks, lots of this kind of stuff. And when you're surrounded by this kind of foods constantly, you are way more likely to eat them. You know, if it's 10 p.m. and I go in the cupboard and I see that there's a Snickers, I'm gonna have it. And this happened to me lots of times. I remember in the evening before locking myself and watching a movie, I would grab 2 or 3 Snickers bars, a can of Pringles, go to my room and eat. If I didn't have those things in the room, I wouldn't have, eaten those. Or if I had parents who didn't also enjoy eating, maybe I wouldn't have been a fat kid. That's not to blame anyone, right? Like people do whatever they want. People do their best, right? Especially parents. Parents do, or they should do what's best for the kids, and that's what my parents did as well. So there's zero blame, right? I'm responsible for whatever I do. But it's very important to note that your environment matters a lot, and that's what makes me very angry when I see online people say that it's fine, just move more, just eat a bit less, move a bit more, it's fine, it's easy, stop overcomplicating things. Thing is, it's not that simple. We don't all have the same background. Like, if you live with athletic people, you're more likely to be more athletic. Just like if you live with people who do drugs or alcohol, you are more likely to lean towards those stuff. You know, your environment matters so freaking much, and it mattered to me as well. But I got to a point where I started to live alone. I'm like, okay, I'm buying my own stuff. I'm responsible for my own things. I'm simply not gonna buy this junk food anymore. Or if I want to buy it, I will buy it, but I will buy it in smaller portions, which is what I'm doing now. I'm not gonna have a whole jar of ice cream in the fridge, a whole jar of Ben and Jerry's, because I'm more likely to eat most of it. I'm gonna have like single serving packages. I find that this helps a lot. Same thing for I don't know, chips. I'm not gonna have a family size bag of chips like I used to have in my parents. I'm gonna have a small, like 30 grams one, and I'm gonna eat those if I want to, and I'm gonna count those towards my calories. Um, so yeah, I find that the environment and, as you mentioned, the emotional eating aspect of it, like people having hard lives, harder than others. Like some people, like they don't know whether they can pay rent the next month. Go to that person that it's fine, just eat a bit less. Why are you stressed? Stop eating. It doesn't work like that, or the mom who has 2 kids. It's fine, you have 24 hours in your day, just take an hour to work out. It's easy. Okay, are you gonna take care of my kids while I do this? No. So yeah, these are things that are quite not looked into a lot in the fitness industry, in the fitness and health industry, I find.
Yeah, I'm so glad you like brought this up because I never heard like any coach like talking about this, and it is really important. Like even uh and I love sunflower seeds. It is probably an Eastern European thing. But even I think even our parents, at least my, like most of them, they like eating just potatoes
Hmm.
all day long, and right
Hmm.
now they thank God they have like more resources, more money. So yeah, if
Mm.
they like want to just please their kids a little more and give them what they didn't had. So
Yeah,
yeah, it is this like thing, and it is very environmental. And like
exactly.
even like with the environment, like what are those you said like buying a smaller like portions of like the more like calorie based foods, and what
Yeah.
are those other like small environmental changes that you can do that would like greatly improve your life and your like
Hmm.
fitness journey?
Hmm. That's a good question. Um, with the environment, if you live by yourself or if you're the main person who brings food in, then it's easier, right? You have to make choices that are aligned to your goals. So, if you have the goal in the moment to lose fat, then you should fill up your cupboard and your fridge with foods that are going to make fat loss easier. Things like lean proteins, fruits, veggies, lots of whole grains, like rice, pasta, beans, that kind of stuff. Like you should always have some nutritious foods on hand. That's gonna help your direct environment where you live. If you're not the main provider for the house and you live with someone else or your parents or whatever, you can have a discussion. Like, look, I have these goals right now. I don't want you to stop buying things for yourself just because of me, but I want you to know that I'm not gonna, you know, eat those right now because I have more important goals. And if you can like hide them somewhere where I don't know they are, I will find that greatly helpful. That can be also a strategy if you live with someone, right? So I think that's very important in terms of food and close environment. Then, in terms of the other habits and environment-based changes, who you watch online, I find is also very important. Like, do you watch a bunch of people eating? Like those, I don't know if you've seen those, but there's a lot. There used to be a lot of 10,000 calorie challenges on YouTube of people like eating 10,000 calories. And when you're dieting, you tend to watch a lot of those kind of eating videos, like see me eat at this fast food place or whatever, mukbang or whatever
Yeah.
those are called videos. Stop watching those; they're not good for you. Um, Find people who you can identify with, people who are on the same journey as you, people who are on the same journey as you who are also trying to lose fat, or people who have been in your journey before and are now trying to teach you what to do, like me. Like, for example, I would watch myself right now if I was if I was fat, or if I was me from years ago, because that's what I did when I started. I found myself some people who lost a lot of weight, like I don't think I'm gonna know these names, but like Obese to Beast, then he gets fit, Fat Meets Fire. Some people who used to post on YouTube many years ago, because I found them very relatable, right? So I make sure that the people who I watch on YouTube, or the stuff that I watch on YouTube or social media, is aligned to my goals. That's also part of the environment, because we spend lots of time on social media and lots of time online, more than we should, right? So we should be very careful what we fill our brains with. So I'll put it as that as well. And also in terms of habits, as I mentioned before, I would still go out. I wouldn't push back on going out, but if I go out, I will still look to make as smart and great choices as I can. Like, if I'm gonna go out with my friends, am I gonna go out with them just so I can eat, or I'm gonna go out with them because I haven't seen them in a while? I want to see how they're doing. I want to catch up. I want to talk, and so on. If it's the latter, if I'm going out for the purpose of socializing, I don't necessarily need to have 5 beers. I can have one, and I don't necessarily need to order what they're ordering. I don't need to get a huge pizza. I can go for a smaller one, or I can go for something else. Um, but I would bring it also to their awareness that, look, I'm doing this thing right now. I have these goals. They're important to me. I want you if you're a real friend, uh, I want you to respect my goals. I don't want you to bully me or whatever, or I want you to accept that I'm doing this and be on board, you know. And if they're a good friend, they're gonna be on board. Um, so yeah, in terms of environment, that's the things that I'm thinking about right now. And I talked about social media in terms of finding a community and people that you enjoy, but it can also be in real life. Ideally, it should be in real life, like maybe go to a fitness class at your local gym. Maybe sign up to do like I don't know once per week, maybe a group training or a group like biking, like biking for an hour with some people. Um, CrossFit. People like to say bad things about CrossFit, but it's a great community builder where you make friends who have the same like goals as you. So yeah, look to find like-minded people and make sure that people in your inner circle know what you're going for and that they respect to the best of their capabilities what you're doing, and they're not trying to actively derail you from that. Like you tell your mom, okay, I want to lose a bit of weight, and the next day she comes with a bunch of chocolate. Here, eat. Why? That's not something that would be great. So yeah,
What do you think are those 10 to 30% that AI can't automate that you should and you need to do alone and just get the work done?
Honestly, probably AI can theoretically automate everything, but no company wants that. You will not find a single company alive that wants a fully autonomous chatbot with no human in the loop control that talks to your clients. Nobody wants that. Why? Because companies understand they're in the relationship business. So you can automate certain steps. You can automate customer support queries, or there are questions about the product, questions about the delivery status or whatever. Like people will not even realize they talk to an AI. But it's not meaning that now your customer support team, for example, or sales team or customer success is not doing work anymore. It's the opposite. Now they're supposed to focus even more on what actually matters. It's relationship building. Give your customer a call, man. Like, why are you not talking to your customers? Why are you not talking to your big suppliers? Right? These are the things that people then need to focus on. And AI can theoretically automate this, voice agents, chat agents, but regardless of what you see on social media, no company wants that.
So, yeah, that actually makes sense, and I never thought about it like no company wants a 100% automated AI business because from what can we heard all around the world is that that's going to happen is just losing their jobs because businesses want 100% automated businesses. But yes, that's not true. Yes, I heard.
Yeah. So the point, I work in the industry. Yes, you hear IBM fired 5,000 people in HR and replaced them by a chatbot. The truth, and it's not going to be popular to say that, is IBM doesn't have money and don't want to pay these people. So they lay them off and they give some reason. They do have a lot of job descriptions out there for open positions. So it's more like a shift right now in the working market. They don't want to replace a whole department with a chatbot. Again, nobody's doing that. If somebody can replace something, then please replace HR. I think that's HR stands for hardly relevant. I don't like the HR departments at all. But still, it's more of a farce right now. People are putting that out as the reason, but at the same time, they're hiring a bunch of people back because AI is not there yet, and like our companies make it seem, and still rely heavily on people, and will probably, because AI again is supposed to help you be more efficient. It's not supposed to replace the human aspect of it. Let's say, for example, content creators. The amount of content creation with AI advice out there is just crazy. And the most interesting thing, it's usually like big creators, 100,000 followers, and they're like, guys, I developed this chatbot and it creates a whole video script for you and everything. I sell it for $1,000. It's just a stupid GPT that they gave some documents to, right? They need a way to monetize their brand. I understand. But let's face it, they didn't get where they are using that. They're not even using that themselves. The video that they used to promote that thing was not written by that thing because it sucks. It's not supposed to replace your creativity. It's not supposed to replace your idea finding process, your natural curiosity. That's not what artificial intelligence is good at. It has certainly a lot of places where it can be used, but it can't be used to replace human creativity just yet.
Do you think it will ever get to that point? Because when we get into like creativity and what it is, we can define it as creating something new from the stuff you already have, kinda, we can say. And a lot of like people in the AI space are all having these dystopian scenarios about the world and everything. So I'm curious, like, what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I remember I read a book, oh, it's so old, I think over 10 years ago, about how AI is going to kill everything. That was way before AI. Right? Nobody was talking about AI then. It's only a topic for 2 or 3 years now. I was reading it back then, and he was saying that all jobs would go extinct and everything. I think probably every prediction that I can make about the future of creativity in art is going to be wrong, because it's such a dynamic thing all over human history. But what I think is probably a very realistic trend is that people are going to look for relatable personalities and real personalities. And one thing I'm predicting for the content creation niche is actually what you already see with big streamers, is building social networks around their content. Not meaning that you have your own community or whatever, but that iShowSpeed is sitting with Kai Cenat in the same room. And then they bring Kevin Hart. You know, it's like these are real humans. You can see it, you can feel it. You have like okay, these guys are not perfect. I kind of relate to them. All the AI created products right now are very perfect. I mean, very polished is probably the better word. I think at some point people will just get tired of it and look for something more rough, more raw, more authentic. But yeah, who knows who's going to be in 10 years? Honestly, I can't make that prediction. But for right now, I wouldn't fall for the trap of thinking that AI should replace your brain. That's not what it's made for.
Agreed, and especially with those streamers, they are like relatable because on stream there is like only camera and you, and it's live. So even when you make some mistake, when you just stumble or something happens, you have it on camera, and people think, oh, that's a mistake, I should avoid that. But exactly the stuff they are making mistakes about, and just those small moments, those are the moments that connect with the people the most. And that's one of the things, like, I try to, when I'm consuming something, I try to just look at the deeper stuff and why is this connecting with me, why this is, for example, making me laugh, and I like absorb this. That is really interesting how we connect with other people, and that I think that in the future will be mostly like important, especially most of the people are focusing right now on the long form content.
And you see it in the long form content as well. Mr. Beast, best example. Mr. Beast is not just Mr. Beast, right? His whole friend group, and they're always doing cool stuff. His videos are mad entertaining because it's multiple people, multiple real people, different personalities. This whole social network, friend group, whatever. Right? The same with, for example, these 3 car guys. How are they called? The Grand Tour. You know, these British guys that are doing like tours in different countries with cars. I think they're retired right now, but still, the playing to the eccentric personalities is what makes it so interesting. It's not like they're delivering value and, you know, all the social media advice. They're delivering no value, man. It's just entertainment. But it's mad entertaining because they are likable personalities that feel comfortable in front of the camera, and they have this interesting dynamic that we are genetically wired to be interested in, because that's what brought us here, made us human, and we're still interested in that. We recognize a face out of millions and billions of faces. That's what we're good at. That's what our brain was built to do. We remember names, right? We chit chat about other people, we gossip. Like, this is the stuff we want, and I think it will stay this way. I don't think it will change.
Yeah, and especially in the like AI age, and you said like it's really hard to predict anything. So I heard this like quote. Maybe it goes something like, "We shouldn't focus on the stuff that's going to change and is changing rapidly. We should focus on the stuff that
Yeah.
will not change, and that is that like connection and all of the stuff around it." And with that value, especially it is especially how you define value, because yes, in most of everybody's content advice is like, yes, solve this, do this, this, and this. But for me, I define value as maybe even giving clarity, making someone laugh, and all of the stuff. That's the value. Like even I want to give on this podcast is not even to solve people's problems and give them tips about the topic, but maybe give them clarity about something, make them laugh, or just having to listen to a great talk that can be just about anything, just to listen to when you're going on a walk or anywhere. Basically, that's how I try to define it and try to just go with it
Yeah.
mostly. And you need to believe you can do anything you want to do. Why do you think it's so important?
Well, I mean, if you don't believe that you can do anything that you want to do, that you, before then, you would probably have the system thought that, well, going to school, going to university, and then get a job, that's just the casual path, I'd say, the safest path. But yeah, just thinking that you can do anything that you want to do, that delusion in that case, or at least some would call it delusion. Yeah, it's, if you don't believe that, you don't give 100% into the things that you're doing, because you're not 100% sure that it works. You have to believe 100% in the things that you do, or else would it will not work. Or if it does not work, you maybe ask yourself what would be if you've given 100%. And I mean, you have to, when you play, you basically just need to play to win and not play to play, because that doesn't make much sense. Well, because you can just not play at all if you don't play to win or play to achieve some goal or some dream of yours. And yeah, so I think it's not like optional. I think it's necessary to believe that. Or I think that even if you don't believe that in the beginning, I think that when I started copywriting, I didn't believe that. I mean, I just started doing copywriting and just doing something. When you're in the business of just improving yourself or building things, at some point you will believe, if you keep going, that you can do anything. I think that's just something that everyone will experience when they do something.
I see the belief is really important for you, and I saw from your videos you're religious, And does like God help you with that belief in yourself and in your dreams and that you can do it?
I think that, yeah, I'd say I think I believe in God. I have some problems with just straight up believing that. I'd say I'm also pretty into physics and to science in general. So I have a lot of doubts in that case, but also a lot of like not doubts about that. So just like two sides in me just colliding and fighting constantly against each other. But I think no matter if you believe in God or don't believe in God, I think it's great to just pray to God or pray to something and try to live your life with that. Or if you don't believe in anything, just believe or live in this like with this avatar that you've created for yourself, because that can help you become like a better person. In that case, like with the Catholic belief, in that case, like staying away from sin, which is just a great thing to do. Like if you look at the sins, those are just every single one of them is just things that also a if you've just thought about it yourself, you would agree with every single one of them. Like not stealing things, all right, not murdering anyone, yeah, I think that's common sense. Yeah, so I think just aligning yourself with these beliefs will benefit you even if you don't believe in it. You just try to align yourself with it. In the end, you will become a better person in that case. And yeah, with achieving things, I pray for it in that case, but I think that it isn't like if you pray for it and it will come true. I think it's mostly just you have to do the work yourself, and the opportunities will come by themselves or will come through that. But in the end, your work won't be affected by your prayers. You have to work yourself, which is by you as an individual with free will. So to achieve things, you just have to do the work, no matter if you believe in something or you don't believe in something. And the more work you do, the more opportunities you will get, the more likely it will become that you achieve the things that you're striving for, or just develop as a person, even if you fail.
With the stressors and the factors, most people, I think, don't know what career path to take or what to do. What advice would you give them?
I'd say talk to old people. That's what helped me, honestly. Like, I talked to so many, like, freaking 70-year-old people, 80-year-olds, like, 90-year-olds, and it was actually surprising that a lot of them are still figuring life out, too, and they still don't got it figured out, and all these things that they spent 80 years living and thinking, they were completely wrong about. So, I think people forget that this is everyone's first time at life, and everyone's different. I have buddies that love where they live, like they don't have any desire to travel because like they love where they live. They can see pictures online of the other countries and all these things. For me, I cannot like imagine a life without traveling. I love traveling. So everyone's different, everyone needs different things, and I think at the end of the day, like as long as you're trying, that's all you can do. Because you can think, oh, I love chocolate ice cream, and then you take a bite of that chocolate ice cream and you don't like it. So you don't know until you try. But if I were to give advice to anyone younger that is trying to figure out their career path, their job, or like where they want to travel, like anything along those lines, like I just would recommend do as much as possible. Every single opportunity you have, try it out. see if you like it, and then analyze that. Okay, like when it comes to jobs, I've had 12 jobs or something at this point. And when I looked at all 12 jobs that I had, I was like, okay, I liked this part of it. I liked talking. I worked at McDonald's at one point. Like when I worked at McDonald's, I liked talking to people, but I hated taking out the trash. I hated restocking the fridge. I hated this. I hated that. I hated being all greasy, like, and eating McDonald's. Like, all these things. There's a lot of things I hated, but there was one thing I liked, which was talking to people and the customer service aspect of it. Like there's a lot of different things. I was an electrical apprentice, and I'm not like a technical guy. I'm not like a manly man, I guess. Like construction dude, but I loved learning something new every day. So every single day I came into work, they had me install a light fixture or a alarm system or a ceiling fan, and I didn't know how to do any of that. But I got taught how to do those things. So from there, I learned that in that job, I hated working in 80-degree heat, and I hated working like 12 hours a day, like doing something I didn't like. But I did enjoy learning something new every day. So now I'm like, okay, this job at McDonald's, I like talking to people. This job doing electrician work, I liked learning something new every day. Boom, 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 all these different things. And I'm like, hey, what's a job that has all these things? Okay, with sales, I'm talking to people. With sales, I'm learning something new every day. Well, I like traveling and stuff. With sales, I can travel. So then once I realized all these things I liked and the jobs I've had, I'm like, what job has all these things where it's majority of it? Yeah, there's still parts of sales I hate. Like, I hate doing the admin work. I hate, like, filing all the different spreadsheets and doing all the data tracking and, like, all that admin work. But 99% of sales I love, So I think everyone will find that thing. But you need to just kind of try a bunch of stuff out, see if you like it or not, and then every single time you get that job or start that business, analyze what you like or don't like about it. Then try and find something where a majority of the work is those things you like.
I think many creatives and artists have this problem with consistency, discipline, and this art part, basically. A lot of creative blocks and procrastination. And how do you now deal with that after the long period of kind of being in it and being out of it?
Consistency, I'd say the number one thing is you gotta value consistency. I feel like everyone says you gotta be consistent, and like it's when you just hear that, you're like, okay, when it comes down to like those late nights, or when it comes down to like showing up on a day you don't want to, especially with creative stuff, you're like, it's fine, I'll just leave it to the next day. So I think one, valuing consistency, and how I learned that lesson was I wasn't consistent for a long time. That's kind of what I mean when I graduated high school, and I was like posting stuff on Spotify and learning those lessons. Like one of the lessons I learned was that you got to be consistent, and that just came from putting stuff out, like getting discouraged, not going anywhere, and that cycle kind of repeating. So valuing consistency and then actually like applying it like in everyday life. I think you just got to want it. Like, how bad do you want it? We mentioned at the start of this call that I'm coming off like 4 hours of sleep, and I just went to the studio, and now I'm talking to you. So it's like, and after this, I gotta make the video for tomorrow. So it's like, having that expectation of like, this is what it is, and it's gonna be really hard. But you just gotta show up every day, no questions asked. Just gotta do it.
Yeah, do you have any methods for it? Because, it's, for many people, it's easy to say, like, do it every day, but what are, the reasons and the things that just push you through it, that even when it's hard and even when it is not all, perfect, and what just keeps you going, what just gets you going, and just getting that, even if with 4 hours of sleep, just getting to that studio and doing the work.
I think so. One is like what I kind of mentioned with like value and consistency, just learning that I I need to do it to be successful. You need to learn that lesson. But then like what actually like on a day-to-day basis keeps me like going is I think um right now it's like I have a little bit of momentum and in my head it's like this isn't gonna go anywhere. You know, momentum it doesn't really do anything if you don't capitalize on it. So like operating from a place of like understanding this is the moment where I have to capitalize on the momentum I have. But I'd say more general advice for people like dealing with consistency. Um, I'd say you gotta have stuff like ready. You gotta prepare a little bit. To be consistent, you have to be a little bit patient. So what that means is that you can't just all of a sudden, you know, like brute force every day if you're not prepared. Like you need to I didn't start like a real world example is I didn't start like rolling out content until I had the song ready there. So it's like when the content is like doing a little bit better, the song is ready to go. And it's like there is no like there is no waiting around. So like just having stuff ready, whether that's ideas or like videos, um, is I think a big thing as well for consistency.
I absolutely agree. And for even my example is this podcast, I prepare a lot of the episodes ahead. So it is not that hard to keep just every week just posting one episode even when, the just this problem and that problem and everything comes just in place then. And yes, as you mentioned, you have a new song, Pick Up. It's fire, to be honest.
Thank you.
I liked it. And for preparation for this podcast, I listened to, all of your songs, and I see the story behind every
Yeah.
one of them, and kind of interested in how did this song Pick Up just came to life? When did it start? What's the story behind it?
Well, like the idea of the song is like, I mean, kind of obviously like relationship stuff. I think everyone goes through it. But more specifically, like the idea of like no contact with like a relationship or something like that. So how it came about was I wanted to write about that, had that idea for like a story that I wanted to tell, and then what I do a lot is I like to have the idea of the song and I like to have like the main line of the song before I write like the entire song. That's like how I build my songs. It's like I like to know the title as well, like imagine the title, like what kind of word it would be, and then um like build around that. So I had the idea for the hook and that was like 3 months before the song came out. So it was like a period of like 3 months of like just trying to work out um the rest of it, like the verse, like the layers and like the arrangement of it. Um but yeah, it was really just like I want to write about this and I have this lyric kind of idea and just building around that for the 3 months after it.
That's pretty cool, honestly. And I think there's like two parts in making, a successful maybe or even good song is, the creative part, the songwriting, and then kind of the marketing of it, the economy part we can call it. And how did you go about marketing the song?
Well, in general, like my marketing like strategy was just um put out good content before. Doesn't even have to be related to the song, but just in general, like put out stuff that I really liked, and just relate with people and kind of build that foundation of like people who um, just would maybe like care about the stuff that I'm like putting out. And then as for the actual like music content, that's just I'd say like every artist like struggles with like making content. I think personally I like filmmaking and like cinematography and stuff like that. So I just wanted to just incorporate that in all the stuff that I was doing for pickup. Yeah, just making sure that I think every video as well that I released for that song wanted to be I want it to be fresh for the person viewing it. I think that's a big thing, like, because artists will think like, you just gotta hammer the song constantly, which is partly true, but viewers get tired of just like hearing the same thing over and over again. I think to keep it somewhat fresh, because the song is obviously the same, like the visuals need to be crazy, in my opinion. I need to give you like a good reason to like watch this video and like and be engaged. So yeah, just a combination of all that, like doing what I think I love, and also just like really having the goal of like, I want the person watching this to be like, whoa, like scroll and be like this is cool, I want to stay.
And you even before talked about these rules of AI and the kind of the prompt rules, and you have some structures. Could you share some that how can people get better at prompting, and even how can people pick the like LLM model or LLM that they should use, because there's a lot. There's Claude, there's ChatGPT, there's Gemini, and all have their pros and cons.
Yeah. I think the like fundamental way of getting better at prompting with AI is by having more knowledge and experience in the thing you're prompting for, which kind of sucks to say, because like if you want to get better code responses from an AI, then you need to be better at coding. You need to know about coding structures or whatever, which is kind of the sucks way. Like just get better yourself and you can make better things. Like but because then you're using it as like a boosting productivity as opposed to like I think using AI to do something that you know nothing about is kind of dangerous. Like I said before with like security and all that stuff, like it has flaws and doesn't do secure practices unless you tell it to. But yeah, and then with like the models, so I mean the way I use it, I used to use Cursor a lot for coding, but I've now switched over to Claude Code. And I think for developing things, Claude is just the best. I think Claude Code is also very good because it has more access to your file system, but the good thing about Claude Code is it stays within the folder you tell it to, as opposed to OpenClaw, which can just destroy your life. But yeah, so Claude Code's great for coding, and I think that using the more powerful models, someone who even doesn't know too much could probably do quite well. But I still think you need a fund. Like if you're building a website, I think you still need at least watch like a couple YouTube videos on like building websites, or like what makes a good website at least. So at least you can criticize it properly and say this is rubbish, or this should look like this and do this instead. Or yeah, I've even noticed this kind of ties to like knowing more, but there's specific words you can say that kind of almost shows more things. Like for example, if I'm writing some code, like I know there's I forgot what they're called now, but there's different I forgot the name of it. It's design patterns. There's different design patterns in coding, and they have different names. For example, like there's a factory design pattern or a template design pattern, and these are just like standardized ways and practices of setting certain things up in code or whatever. And if I use those terms and be like, oh, make sure to even just saying make sure to decide and use a correct design pattern when coding this or something, it will produce better code. And the only reason I know about design patterns is from doing code or whatever, like being a developer. And so yeah, like with the prompting, I think yes, I think the experience is the biggest one. I think like that's but I think you can fake experience by doing a bit of research into what you're doing at least. Like don't just try and treat it as some god, basically. And then yeah, Claude Code's amazing. I use Claude for anything to do with writing. I think it's great. I like to just throw thoughts at it, and it just cleans it up into like I write a lot of my captions to Claude. So I just send like a voice message to like ChatGPT or Claude is amazing. And then ChatGPT I mainly use for I used to use it as organizational stuff, but I found like Claude is amazing at planning. It has a whole plan mode. So I kind of more use ChatGPT as just like my little buddy on my phone. So if I just want to talk to AI, it's just good at, yeah, because it's more like Claude's more precise, whereas ChatGPT is more like general and broad, but sometimes it's better to be more general and broad. So it's almost better at I don't really have to explain it. Like Claude's great at planning a specific thing and doing specific things, like writing this specific script or coming up with some hooks or whatever, or writing the specific code. But then ChatGPT's better at I'm not sure how to explain it, like broader things. So if I
More of a generalist.
yeah, and it's also good if you want to. So I like to almost throw thoughts at it and kind of just go back and forth and just think with it, just because I like to think about interesting topic, like have deep talks if you like. And it's very good for like connecting different like disciplines, like if you want to like connect gym to psychology for some reason or something, and then you can kind of make it do that. And and the other thing is, like, I always tell them to do research online, just because then it gets fresh information as opposed to just using the old trained information. So that's probably my tips.
You mentioned focus, and I want to know your techniques, like you said meditation and other techniques, how to improve your focus, because I think focus is one of the big things that people, I think, need for success, and there's less and less of it in this world.
Yeah, focus is definitely getting a lot rarer in this distracted world we're in. And in order to improve your focus, there's two approaches to this. So there's, first of all, is improving the ability of your brain or your mind to be able to concentrate. And there's adjusting the task or the work itself. So let's start off with improving your own focusing ability. It mainly comes just through practice. So focus is a muscle at the end of the day. It's something that you only improve by putting in the reps in. So what I suggest to my clients and the people I can help is just by adding 10 minutes every day to the amount that you're able to focus for at a given stretch. So for example, if it takes you 20 minutes of work before you get distracted, just try improving that by 10 minutes a day. Or if that's too hard, then just improve it by 5 minutes every day. So it's all about practice and strengthening your focus muscle. And with your tasks, because that obviously changes your focus, you can have a really enjoyable task which you get into the flow state with and you're able to focus effortlessly, while there's other tasks which are boring, they're hard work, you cannot focus at all. It's mainly about making the task more enjoyable and finding that balance between skill and challenge, which is where you can fall into the flow state.
Yeah. I think that's pretty good advice, and I want to get back into the personal, getting better at the focus thing. Do you have some techniques? Because some people are like this Pomodoro technique, like 25 minutes and then 10 minutes just kind of resting. Some other people, are like 90 minutes of deep focus, then they're just kind of again resting, and again they're like million other things, like focusing deeply on 4 hours and all of that stuff. So what are like your thoughts, and how do you use
Yes, I'm definitely in the 90 minutes gang. I don't think the Pomodoro technique is very effective, because there was actually research done that showed that it takes the brain 23 minutes to get back into a flow state after getting distracted. So it doesn't really make sense to distract yourself after 25 minutes of focus. Instead, 90 minutes of work followed by anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes of rest is the most ideal way to work for most people, because that actually aligns with your brain's natural daily rhythms. Working for 90 minutes, getting to the flow state, followed by a 20 to 30 minute break where ideally you're free from screens, so no TikTok, no Instagram, and doing relaxing activities, stuff like either active recovery, that could be exercise or going for a walk, or non-stimulating activity, which is meditation, maybe just chilling, talking to family, stuff like that. And besides the work blocks, I'd say some other tips which you can use would be thinking about the flow cycle. So there are four main stages to the cycle of flow, and it's basically struggle, release, flow, and recovery. So every single flow state starts with that struggle phase, which is basically during those first 10 to 15 minutes of flow, it's difficult to get into focus. So I'd say the best advice would just be to push through those initial minutes. Then you have the release and the flow, which is where the magic happens. But what's very important is the recovery. So after getting into that deep focus, your brain is pretty exhausted. So you do need to recover. You do need some rest. So yeah, that's what the breaks are for.
Yeah, I agree. And how would you define this flow state? Because as we know, it's a big topic, especially in the whole productivity industry, and we can. I want to kind of get deeper into it because in all of those like professional people and all of those athletes and successful people, high achievers, there's this one reoccurring thing that it's flow state. So I want to know like even more thoughts on that from you and perspectives.
Yeah, I think the flow state is really important for anyone who wants to achieve big things in life, whether you're an entrepreneur or an athlete, as you mentioned. And yeah, it's really an amazing thing. There's actually been a study which shows that in employees, it can boost productivity by up to 600%, which is a lot. And yeah, in addition to just increasing the output that you get per hour of work, it's also enjoyable as hell. So it can actually keep you consistent that way because it's not something you have to push yourself to do. It's not something that you hate to do. It's not like extremely hard. And yeah, it's where you're able to maximize the output that you get per minute of focus.
Agreed. And as I think I was reading just a short form, like a summarization of the book Flow by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm pronouncing it wrong. But it is this state between where a task is hard enough to don't be boring, but kind of easy enough to don't be too challenging, and there's this balance between it. And I heard a cool thought maybe that it is something like sleeping. You don't just get into this flow state. It kind of happens to you. There was this like experiment that this Dr. K, I don't know if you know him, kind of neuroscience in YouTube. Yeah, it's like this experiment with kids that they told him, how do I go to sleep? And you need to lie down, and you need to close your eyes. And then he asked them like, am I asleep now? And they were like, no, give them a blanket, some story. But he couldn't, get to sleep. And like and that basically means that it is a state of mind. And it's really interesting and deep topic. So yeah, like
Exactly.
thanks for your perspective for sure and your like techniques. I want to get to the other thing about teaching and what did you learn about teaching people and how to like teach people in the right way? Because I think a lot of people have problem with this on the social media.
Teaching, so many pieces to this. Here's a big one. One of the biggest things you have to know as a teacher is what stage the person you're teaching is at, because the method of how you deliver the information has to change. And I call it progressive complexity over time. So if someone is an extreme beginner and they're struggling to start, you have to give them no options, 0, or it will overwhelm them, because their problem in the beginning is, I don't know what to do, I'm overwhelmed, I'm struggling with consistency. When I sit down to write, I get all this anxiety in my head and I can't show up every day because I don't know what to do. So you just say, you're going to do just this one thing. And whenever they say, well, what about this? You go, doesn't matter. You're going to do this one thing, and that's it. You're going to sit down, and you're going to write about your interests. And they go, well, what about niching? Doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter right now for you. It doesn't matter yet. And then they follow that one way. And I would say that one way is basically constraining the tactics. Out of the 5 options and ways you can do this, I've picked one that I think works for you, and that's all you're going to do. But then that starts to become a limit after a while. The new problem is it's too constraining. So as somebody becomes more intermediate and more advanced, they're able to handle more complexity without overwhelm. Which means now when I sit down to write, I'm not just writing about my interests. I can think, okay, I can write about my interests. I can reference somebody else's post, or I could rewrite a top performer of mine, and I can choose which one. And you start to like be able to give them more options, and it like frees them a little bit to explore a bit more, but you give them the options slowly, one little option at a time. And you want to make sure that all your education connects all the way up. So you're not just giving them, every time you teach them something new, new thing, new thing, new thing, new thing, new thing. It's, okay, here's one thing, here's like the one thing you need to do, but now we're just deepening how you can do it. So we're improving your skill and your craft. So example, I'm saying here's how you do ideas. You just write about your interests. Now I'm not like, hey, with ideas, now you don't actually do ideas anymore. You do something totally different. No. Okay, now there's 2 ways to do ideas. And now there's 3 ways to do ideas. And see how they're all similar, but they're a little bit different. And you like create that complexity over time, and you give them more options as you go up. And eventually, what you arrive at is, in the beginning, you were giving them tactics. This is how you do ideas. As they become more advanced, you give them principles. Principles are, here's the underlying way to do something that works like all the time. So I'm trying to think, what would be a good content principle? So like for a hook, a principle could be you need to have a curiosity loop. There has to be a curiosity loop. There has to be a gap. You tell a beginner that, they have no fucking clue what to do. Well, you're hooked, just use a curiosity loop. They're like, how do I do that? You just do it. See, it's not constrained enough for them. So what instead you tell a beginner is, the first thing you say is how to achieve goal without obstacle. And they go, well, what if I write about a problem? No, you don't know. No. No. You don't know. Good. And that's what I mean by you slowly give them more options as they learn more things. And the art of creating good education is knowing who are you speaking to at what time, how do you constrain those options, and how do you introduce more options over time without overwhelming?
How do you know a person became like an intermediate from the beginner? When does the change go? Or how do you know if somebody is already an intermediate, or they are ready for those principles, or they are not ready?
I would say I tend to know when I talk to people where they're at, but the way that someone could know for themselves is, does constraining the options limit them or empower them? Like if getting rid of like a shit ton of options to where you only do things one way would harm someone and they can't be versatile enough, then they're probably an intermediate or an advanced. But if giving them just one way to do things actually allows them to get better faster, then they're still a beginner. So that's how you would know for yourself or for someone that you're talking to. But typically, if you are marketing with education products, I would just choose who you want to work with. And you just need to know, I'm either making this course for beginners or intermediates. You typically don't want to make advanced courses anyways. That's like high ticket stuff, like when you just do one-to-one coaching. But if you're making education, probably should just choose beginners, which means you're just constraining all the options down to one path. And then when people go, what about this? Doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. And that's how you'd figure it out.
Yeah, and what are the other things that make a great product, great educational product, besides, knowing your audience, knowing who you're talking to at what level?
Well, I've kind of covered that a little bit with the progressive complexity. I do think good evergreen education, though, like education that will be around today and like 5 to 10 years from now is principles based. So tactics, I'm kind of contradicting myself a little bit, but principles means that it's going to be relevant for a really long time. And if you can simplify and constrain options to easy to understand principles, that's where you get really, really good education. Like I would say Alex Hormozi does this really well. Like when you read 100 Million Offers, it is principles that even beginners can understand. And that's why it's such effective, hard to break models. Like this is a Deutschian science-based thing, but I do believe it applies to education. Good theories or explanations are hard to vary. That is like, that idea is so big. It should sit as like one of the most foundational beliefs of most people. So if you can prove something wrong easily, or you can't prove it wrong easily, it's not very good education. So I'll give you an example with Hormozi's model that's really good. When he says in 100 million leads, I think there's a part in there where it's like 4 options. It's like there's people you know, or like strangers you know, strangers you don't know, and then there's like 2 other options, right?
Yeah,
I can't
the
remember
core
them all.
4, I think.
The core 4, yeah. Exactly. How do you vary that principle? Like you really can't. You know what I mean? Like who else is there to reach out to? It's like, no, that principle encompasses everything. It's so hard to vary, which is why the education is good. If I can vary the education and I can say, actually, like there's a contradiction here, and I can do that without even really thinking that much, it's not very good education. So that's where a lot of the work is in creating the product, is getting the explanations of why this thing works down to things that are hard to vary with different theories. That's
Makes
a bit more
sense.
advanced, but I hope I explained it simply.
No. I think it's clear. I get it. So I think 99% of the audience will get it too. So for sure.
Great.
I wanted to touch on the traveling. You traveled to 8 countries, you said. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. From what country you have the best memories?
Honestly, I feel like I have like a list of like my favorite countries, but Thailand is my number one. Like I went to Thailand. Thailand is my favorite. Right, it's just absolutely beautiful. Everywhere you look, it's just like picturesque. It's like a Windows background everywhere you look. It's like beautiful, right? And Japan was also it's pretty up there. I put it second. I feel like the reason I put Japan second is just because I went by myself, and solo trips are nice and everything, and they're all for peace and all that. But I don't want to do no solo trips. Right? I'd rather be with my friends. I think any person who goes on a solo trip says, oh, they're really nice and everything, and sure, I enjoyed it. But everyone would rather be with their friend, right? Like every single person would be like, I'd rather have someone here with me. I'd rather not be alone, right? So that's the reason I put Thailand first. And at the same time, I'm like, I love the beach, right? Like I love the beach. My dream is just I want to be on a yacht in my swim trunks. That's the dream. I don't want to be walking out with no shirt. That's what I want, right? So Thailand is like very beach heavy, so that's why I really liked it. Right? Like I was genuinely in my swim trunks for like 10 days straight. 10 days straight. I was just in the same shorts every single day on the beach. Right? It was perfect. And then Japan, if I want like a city, like a clean city with like really cool views and just such a big city and you can just walk around everywhere. Japan is also really, really, really good. So those are like my top 2.
What are some other countries?
I also went to, let's see, where else? I went to Paris. I went to France, Paris. Right? I didn't like Paris. I know like France has some nice places, probably in like the south, but I didn't like Paris, honestly. Like I think I went twice last year. Right? I went twice. The first time was nice because obviously it was like everything was new. Like, oh wow, like Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, right, the Notre Dame, all that stuff. Like, oh wow, it's cool. The second time I'm like, well, I've seen all this before, and now I'm just like, there's no point. I don't like it anymore. I want to go to Sacré-Cœur again. Like, okay, there's nothing to do anymore. And there's trash everywhere. I'm like, I don't like this, right? I also went to Amsterdam. And the Netherlands. I know the Netherlands has like some amazing like scenery for like hiking and stuff, and I do want to do that eventually one day. But I only went to Amsterdam because I only had like one day, so I only went to Amsterdam. I didn't like Amsterdam at all, right? It's like I think maybe if you're interested in drinking and drugs and all that, maybe Amsterdam is nice for you. I'm not interested in that at all, right? So in partying or any of that stuff, I'm more interested in like seeing nature, or like seeing like a really nice city, or seeing like what the city has to offer, or how the people live, or that's what I want to see, right? But no, I do not like Amsterdam at all. Like just a bunch of drunk people. I'm like, I don't want to do this, right? A place I really liked that I really want to visit again. I went to Morocco. I went to Casablanca. I only had like a short layover. It was like 17 hours or something. So I only got to explore one city, but I really liked Morocco, and it was really nice, right? Like I want to go back again because I didn't really get to experience it. But that's on my bucket list. Morocco's on my bucket list, and I'm Egyptian, so I went to Egypt as well, and just visiting family. So Egypt is nice, right? You do need a tour guide if anyone's going, right? If anyone's going, you're gonna very much need a tour guide. Do not go by yourself, especially if you're a girl. Do not go by yourself at all, right? But for me, it's more like I'm just visiting family. It is pretty safe, at least where I'm from. It's pretty safe. It actually got ranked the safest city in all of Africa. So I don't know if that's like a big accomplishment, but sure, right? So it was pretty nice. I get to go to the beach. Egypt's really beautiful, right? It has like so much to offer. It's just there's the infrastructure of the tourism isn't really there, so you're gonna need someone to like help guide you through the maze, right? You're gonna get to see the pyramids. There's a bunch of museums to visit. There's a whole bunch of beaches, right? We got the Mediterranean, we got the Red Sea, so it's beautiful, right? You can have so many variety in order to have fun. So I really like Egypt, but I wouldn't put it up there. Where else did I go? I went to Dubai. Right? I like Dubai, but like for me, I don't understand why people would go tourism for Dubai. I mean, I get it. If you've never seen like a futuristic, city, it's really nice. But I feel like I'm not interested in seeing a futuristic city. Well, I was raised in Dubai, so that's the reason I go. I go visit my family and my friends there, so that's the reason I go. Right? I don't really go see like futuristic city. I was there when it was being built. Right? I was there for 15 years. I'm okay. I don't need to see it again over and over again. I'm just there to see my friends. Where else did I go? Japan, Thailand, Morocco, Egypt, and Amsterdam. Did I go somewhere else? I don't remember. Honestly. I think that's it. I think that's all the places.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. But that's super cool. And what are the countries that are on your bucket list that you want to visit someday?
Let's see. Well, all of that I've talked about. I haven't really touched on like Europe a lot, right? Like I only went to France and the Netherlands, and I only was there for a day each. And I feel like those two places I didn't really like. I know like Europe as a continent has a whole bunch of other countries that have a lot more to offer. My mom's been to Spain, and she said Spain is really beautiful and she really liked it. So I feel like I want to go to Spain. I really want to go to Italy. Greece, I want to go to like the islands. So those are like the next on my list. I feel like I want to go to. I'll probably go sometime this year.
Yeah. And from countries you visited, which country had the best food?
Ooh. Well, that's easy. I'm Egypt, obviously. Like I'm just gonna go with Egypt, right? Like it's my food, it's my people. Obviously, I love the food, and the thing is, for me, like converting the currency, a lot. It's so cheap over there, right? So like I'll get like the whole menu for like $10. There's this restaurant I actually went to with my family, right? Best food I've ever tried. Like generally, we ordered the whole menu for like $10 each, and amazing food. Generally, like the best food I've ever had in my entire life.
Wow. And what are some Egyptian foods? I've never heard of any.
So our most popular is kushari, and kushari is like think of like, carb maxing. It's basically like rice, macaroni, like fried onion with a bunch of lentils, and then some like tomato sauce. It's just like carb maxing. Think of all the carbs you can ever like put in one dish, and that's what kushari is, right? It's like, but it tastes really good, and it's really heavy, right? You can just imagine all those carbs you're eating. It's really heavy. Then another one is molokhia. So molokhia is like it's like a leaf, right? And then you make like a soup with it, and the soup you either eat with bread or rice, right? And molokhia, the original word is actually molokhia, and molokhia is like it just means like a royalty, right? And the reason it's called royalty is because the food was only for like the royalty in Egypt back in the day, but now everyone has access to it. So the word kind of got changed over time, but it's like a royalty dish that everyone has access to. So that's kind of cool. But and then there is also what else? And everything else is kind of like Mediterranean food, right? Kebabs, you know, shawarma, all that stuff. Everyone likes to take like credit for making it. It's like you have a bunch of the Mediterranean countries like, oh, we made it, no, we made it. All the Mediterranean food is kind of the same. I think Greek food and Egyptian food, they're not really that far apart, right? Like everyone's like, oh, let's go eat Greek. Egyptian food's kind of exactly the same thing, right? And then you got like all the Syrian food, all the Moroccan food, right? All the Italian food. It's kind of the same, honestly. Like all the Mediterranean food, it's kind of exactly the same. I mean, it's all in the same area. They all have the food supplies, so we kind of eat the same things.
And I wanted to hear, some cool stories you have from traveling. We traveled a lot, and I love to hear people's stories when they travel. So, do you have some?
Yeah, so actually, I already made a video about this, but this is super cool. When I went to Morocco, I was there for 17 hours exactly in Casablanca. And I got an Airbnb next to the airport, just because, I wanted to stay next to the airport so that I don't miss my flight the next day. And then the city itself is about like 45 minutes out from the airport. The people I was staying with, right, I was staying at like someone's house, basically. The Airbnb was like someone's house. It was like a guest house in the backyard of someone's house. So the hosts, super nice, right? Like they're super nice, right? They fed me, and then they even offered me to take me on a tour of the city. Right? It was like for like $20 or something. It was super cool. On the tour with them, they basically like adopted me for the day, right? I was like their child, right? They fed me, they took me around. I didn't even have, honestly, like they paid for it. Like it was crazy. Like I don't know what was going on. Like I paid for the tour, and then whenever we would go out to eat, they would pay for the food. I'm like, why are you guys doing this? I'm here on tourism. I'm here to pay. Like let me pay for it, right? And then like I took a picture with them, and I like put it on my story, right? Like a picture with them. The next day I wake up and my friend who I met here in Texas, right? He messages me and he's like, bro, that's my aunt. Like that's his aunt, like his actual like blood aunt, right? And he sends me like a picture of him at her house the day before, right? Like the day before I was there, right? Because he was in Morocco at the time. And he texts me and he's like, you just hung out with my aunt for the day. And I'm like, wow, like there's 50 million Moroccans, and the one Moroccan I hang out with for the day happens to be the aunt of someone I know, which is just crazy.